Mr. Chairman, I want to begin by thanking you, too, for your expert sense of fairness and balance in conducting these hearings. I just want to say that I think it is critical from a perspective of the jurisdiction of this committee for us to do our work. Much of it will take place in private, but some of it should take place in public. And you have held off on the public settings to get the right balance, to make sure that delicate information is protected and that sources and methods are protected. And I think you've done an expert job on that front. I hope we continue to have that balance and to have public hearings so that the American people can get the information so that they can feel more comfortable with access. So thank you again for your balance in this. Mr. Kojam, I come back to one of the most disturbing things that I've heard today, and there have been a litany of some disturbing things, but one of the most disturbing for me is the fact that a couple years ago you could be in America, you could be on a watch list, you could apply for a visa extension and get it. Is that true?
Congressman, I'm going to ask my colleague Richard Beer from Consular Affairs to help you with that question.
Again, to make the distinction, this application from someone already in the United States to extend their stay is adjudicated by the Immigration Service.
Is it true? I only have about 4 minutes. Is it true that you could do that?
Yes.
Prior to September 11th?
Yes.
So you could be on a terrorist watch list. You could simply apply for extension, receive the extension, and stay in the United States for whatever your visa extension was permitted.
Yes. Essentially, yes.
Has that been corrected?
That I'm not prepared to answer. I don't know what the Immigration Service is doing now in terms of checking watch lists. I believe that's been changed.
A year and a few weeks after September 11th, we still cannot answer the question of whether or not that deficiency has been addressed?
I can't answer it. The Immigration Service
would have to answer that question. Can anybody in the room answer that
it.
question? Well, I would hope we would get an answer to that question very quickly, and more so than an answer to the question, a way to solve the problem, so that one of the places for a terrorist to be safe is not the United States of America. I want to ask our dedicated people here from the FBI and the CIA, thank you again for coming today. To the CIA officer, I want to ask, I've had concern about not enough emphasis on analysts. You and your good work at the CIA put some clues together, I understand, in May of 2001, after this situation had been missed for a while. You started a ball rolling. It's my understanding that with the clues finally put together in May of 2001, that was turned over to an analyst who then put it together by August of 2001. Is that correct?
Not entirely. There is a small team probably working this as separate people. There is an analyst. There is also an FBI analyst detailed to CTC who is working on this.
So there was an analyst from CIA and an analyst from FBI?
Within CTC, and then they were working with their colleagues
and my
at
question
FBI.
would be, sir, how many analysts did we have working this in CIA altogether? The total number of analysts in CTC in May of 2001?
I don't have an answer for that. I was at the FBI at the time.
How many were in the FBI?
I would say roughly, again, as I said before in my statement, what you don't have is a large team working a single problem. Here you have people who are working multiple problems coming together periodically to look at this.
I understand. My question, though, is how many analysts are working UBL in CIA and how many analysts are working UBL in FBI? It is my understanding from a previous hearing that there was one analyst in FBI working UBL full-time. Is that correct?
If I can take that, Senator, that is not correct.
That's not. How many were there?
Going back to the fall of 1999, when a decision was made to create the Counterterrorism Division separate from the old National Security Division, there was also a decision taken to create an Information Resources Division. It was not necessarily popular, but the theory held that if you want to do strategic intelligence, we need to have the majority, if not all, of the analysts in the FBI in one division. I understand that an analyst within that division was working strategic intelligence. In the immediate aftermath of the Africa bombings, we created a bin Laden unit, and it is within that unit, the only unit at headquarters that's responsible for one group and one group only, that initially 4, in addition with several investigative operational specialists, work with the agent supervisors and the unit chief in the UBL. Could we use more? I think I've made that case, and we certainly could, and we would certainly hope for your support on that.
I know my time has expired, and the senator from California has waited patiently for her turn. But, Mr. Chairman, I would hope, since we've had a host of different answers to this question over the last several days, that for the record, we could get with certainty how many full-time analysts were working the UBL situation for the FBI, how many for the CTC within CIA, and how that had changed over this critical 3-year period. And I thank the chairman.
I would just like to add to that it's also critical that we understand what we mean by analysts, because there are a lot of different functions these people perform depending on where they work. So some people are analysts working in operational capacity, some people are analysts who write memos for the president, some people are supporting operations. They're performing an analytic function, but it's different. So it is a very difficult question to answer in general. And there are a lot of other people working on the bin Laden issue who are not analysts, who perform a similar function in terms of operational guidance and targeting and that kind of thing. So it is a hard question to answer directly.
Congressman, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I did want to respond to Congressman Roemer's previous question. I have at least a partial answer, and that is that every name in the tip-off database and every new name that is put into the database is run against records of visa holders, both current and expired. And if any name is a match, we do initiate a revocation process. So if it's in our database and they're a visa holder, and we believe they're here, we do pass that information on to domestic law enforcement.
It's passed on.